Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charnley. This is another church, historic church in Rutland. Now, we've seen a number of big Rutland churches. This is a little one. This is the church at Whitwell. And Whitwell is, as the name suggests, there is a sacred well here. There was a church here at the time of the Norman Conquest, and it's then rebuilt later on in the Norman period, and rebuilt again in the 13th century. But because it's a fairly small parish, we don't get one of these big grand churches. We get this early 13th century building that's structurally little changed from when it was first constructed. There's a connection here with a notable Bible expositor we'll see as we go round, and also the Noel family lived locally. We're not very far here from Rutland Water, which is a big reservoir where there's water sports and such like. And so this is fairly close to that. So let's have a look around and see, as they say, what we can see. So the dedication here is to St. Michael and all angels. And as we look around, we shall admire some of the important aspects of this little church. First of all, as we start as usual at the west end, there is a font. Now, this is a recut Norman tub. Originally it was circular, it's now been recut to be octagonal, and therefore only every other side has anything carved on it, and the carvings are kind of weird, so it's been recut. Rather fun. All the windows have stained glass. Here we have Isaiah and Jeremiah. The north door is locked up, as we've seen, quite common, and this now has the war memorial on it. Only small, because it's only a small village. The big dugout chest, that's a single log that's been squared off and then dug out and had a lid put on it. War memorial there in the window, and there's a little bit of medieval painting seen there. So there is painting under this all plaster, so it's a very good thing they didn't take it off in the 19th century. The pulpit is, from the look of it, 17th century, at least in parts. The piscina says there was a side altar here, and you can see we've got here the support. There is a candlestick that's now obviously electric, and then there is the big oil lamp. There we have Ezekiel and Daniel. Daniel, of course, is regarded as a prophet in the Christian tradition, but not in the Jewish. In the Jewish tradition, he's a writer who wrote from God, but he's not a prophet, because the Jewish tradition has a particular definition of who is and who is not a prophet. Our Lord's appearance, peace be with you, following the resurrection. We have here this reredos, obviously Victorian, a bit sparkly in places, and east window we have Peter and John either side of the crucifixion. Blocked window. Sedile and piscina, 13th century. Big piscina there. Nice big opening and pretty big drain as well. And Christ carrying the cross. Now here is a memorial I'm alluded to. In loving memory of Charles Spencer Ellicott, LLB, 6 years rector of this parish, who died June the 5th, 1880, aged 87 years, and of Eleanor Ellicott, his wife, who died June the 28th, 1883, aged 86 years. This chapel has been placed by their only child, Charles John Ellicott, D.D., Bishop of Gloucester and Bristol. He was the editor of a fairly well-regarded Bible commentary. I don't think it's in print today, but you can certainly get copies of it. You see here we've got the windows, and they tell the story of the Passion. So you've got the agony in the garden in the centre. You can see the squint there, and this little 14th century window with its little heads. And here we have the great treasure of the church. That is medieval stained glass, a medieval crucifixion. Only surviving medieval figurative glass anyway in this church, and very rare survival. So the church is restored by the incumbent who follows Ellicott, and it's a big, it's a little 13th century church, very nice. Some medieval glass over the window here, but again it's not figurative, it's just patterns. And there we've got Elizabeth greeting the Virgin Mary, and there is the Nativity. The Robert Cumbry gent who died in 1780 about here, and you can see you've got your piscina, and then that niche, probably given its location you'd have had a light burning there for Our Lady. This would have been Our Lady's chapel. So that is the inside here in this beautiful little church at Whitwell in Rutland. So let's see what the outside is like. So we're now outside here at St Michael's of Whitwell, and you can see here we have the aisle, and behind is this little church, and essentially the nave represents that was a Norman church, and the rest have then been built onto it. So as we look around again, we'll see those features that belong to this fascinating little building from mostly, say, the 13th century, early 13th century rebuild. So outside it's very much as Bishop Ellicott would have known it in his childhood, when his father was the rector here and when he was growing up at the rectory. And you can see this is Charles Spencer Ellicott, this is the Ellicott grave here, just because it's Bishop of Gloucester, he is emphasising his, and quite rightly so, his piety to his, towards his father. It wouldn't have had stained glass in all the windows then, and we know this because all the stained glass, apart from those little fragments, is later. However, it does very much, everything else, the actual window tracery, for example, all that is as it would have been, and you can see that low side window there. Low side windows. You'll find some older guidebooks show them as leper windows, but there's absolutely no way that that's what they were for. Lepers were not really allowed to be that close, but also there weren't actually that many lepers, so not the numbers that the number of windows would indicate. So the thought today is that you should have a bell rung out of them at Mass, so people would know that effectively it's your poor man's Sanctus bell. A nice country church, and you can see here it's not over mowed or over managed, so we've got all these nice wild flowers scattering the churchyard. The church is overlooking a fairly major road, so it's important that we take care. The road's on the north side, so it's all right on the south side. You see here's the north side and here's that main road. And there we have the north side of the church. Double bell cut, no bells. No sign of any bells. Wins the Nobel Prize, or something like that. That blocked north doorway that we saw the inside with the war memorial on the back. So that is Whitwell. The name, of course, the White Well. Holy wells were a big thing in the Middle Ages. They would be supposed to have healing properties. Here we have this is the West End, that's Norman, and you can see the corner there, the coins, and then the nave has just been, the aisle has just been butted up against it, which is perfectly normal, that kind of thing, but structurally they're not tied in at all. And again, that's very much how these things were. So we'll just have a peep into the porch, and then it'll be, there's a thatched roof over there, and peep into the porch, and then it'll be at the end of the video. See, decorated with flowers, and we've got this very nice, that's very early 13th century or very late 12th century doorway. Very good indeed. And so there we have it, St Michael's, Whitwell, Bishop Ellicott's childhood home. Actually, pretty much forgotten Ellicott today as a commentator. He was very, very popular back in the day, and one of the leading Bible commentators, one of the scholarly bishops in the Victorian era. and this is where his father was the rector, and this is where he spent his early years. So thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until next time.